Hello, good morning, and welcome to me reading from Living Clean. This morning I'm going to read from the chapter. It's called Complacency. Complacency is a watchword for all of us, but it shows up in different ways at different times. Most of all, what we know about complacency is that we rarely recognise it when we are in it. In some ways, there is not much sense in trying to talk about it before we experience it. We always believe our own experience will be different. Most of us don't recognise it until it hurts. We may not know we have a reservation until we bump up against it. Reservations can be surprising, not what we predicted at all. Some of us struggle with pride and complacency when we finish the steps. Others lose hope when we are going through a hard time. Some of us shared that it got hard when things got good. Our lives get better and we think, okay, I'm done. Complacency lies in the gulf between desperation and passion. Not only do we risk losing what we have, we miss out on the opportunity to get even better. Not seeing the hope that lies before us, we stop seeing the fear that lingers behind us. Rather than moving from desperation to passion, we move from desperation to complacency. It may be better than what we had, but we are still shortchanging ourselves. Our stories of complacency are much the same. We get lost in work or worship or some other activity, think that NA is stifling or limiting our growth in some way, or that we have grown past the recovery stuff. We lose a sponsor or move and just never reconnect. Sometimes it's a gradual process. We drift away from friends, stop going to meetings, get busy at work, or start developing resentments. A little at a time, we stop working on our recovery and our disease starts gaining a foothold. We can lose everything to a failure of imagination. Thinking that we no longer have to be vigilant about meeting attendance, start work or sponsorship can lead us to predictable places. I was on the road a lot for work, one member shared, and it stopped being a big deal to not show up. We can't see how addiction is affecting us, especially when the destruction looks different than before. It is possible to lull ourselves to sleep in this program and think we are still awake. The living skills we gain in recovery can become part of our denial structure. It's not that everyone who does this relapses, but it seems that nearly everyone who relapses after staying clean for a while shares this part of the story. The risk of relapse doesn't end when we get some clean time. A member with many years clean admitted, to this day, I still try to talk myself out of qualifying for this program. The majority of my problems are related to my self-centeredness and immaturity, and I want to separate that from my addiction. I start thinking, you're older now, wiser and more mature. Real addicts don't stay clean this long. My own clean time becomes a reservation. Some of us fear contentment or serenity because it might look like or lead to complacency. If there's nothing left to fight against, will there be anything left to strive for? Finding the balance is a challenge. We can slow down without stopping. We learn to be content without being complacent. We can be very happy with our lives as they are and still not stop doing the basics. Lust as a battery can't recharge itself. Chances are we can't put the spark back into our own recovery without some outside power. Participation in the life of our fellowship keeps NA alive, but it also keeps the spirit of recovery alive within us. I didn't know how much faith I had until I lost it, a member shared. Recovery started to seem meaningless, dry and cynical. I couldn't check the negativity by myself. I had to seek out opportunities to witness the miracle happening. Connecting with those who have enthusiasm and hope is a beginning. Thinking about recovery never helps as much as getting out and taking action, especially when we don't want to. When what we're doing isn't working, we stop, but when what we're doing is halfway working, we tend to keep going even if it's uncomfortable because we're used to it. Sometimes it seems like the longer we are clean, the less we are willing. Just like in the beginning, we may have to fight our impulses and make ourselves do what we know is right. Celebrations can propel us out of complacency, and many members find that a good convention or retreat can get the gratitude flowing again. Celebrating the anniversary of an addict who is important to us reminds us what a miracle it is that we are still here. A service commitment gets us to a meeting when desire doesn't. Sharing with a newcomer can bring us out of our funk. Carrying the message reminds us that we have a message. Sometimes we just have to get honest about where we are and let go of the belief that we are not supposed to share about feeling bad or wanting to use if we have the most clean time in the room. Even when we don't want to, we know what to do. Even if you're feeling complacent, place your end in a seat. The message is waiting. Wow, that's really spoke to me today. It's just reminded me about our higher power, how he's always been there for us, how he goes before us and how he sticks by our sides and helps us get through. So we just have to surrender to him and trust the process. But here's the Living Clean book. I know it's backwards. You can get yourself a copy if you want to. It's a big help to me. Reading it every day keeps me clean, and I hope it does for you too. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your day.